Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll just give it about 1 minute before we kick off with some of the content, just to allow some people to jump in if they're running a minute late. Okay, I think we'll kick on. So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Just a quick formality and a notice: this session will be recorded, and we have an ability for any questions and answers. They can be popped into either the chat to the team or also a question and answers section. And we'll be sharing the recording at a later date for those who might not have been able to join. So thank you for taking the time to meet with all of us. We're very excited to go through today's content. So we're going to be hearing from some industry experts here at AC3 with our partners at Splunk and one of our great customers at TPG Telecom. And we're going to be discussing the ever-evolving world and the convergence of IT, operational technology, and security all coming together to share in some insights into how risk across all those domains is everybody's responsibility. We here at AC3, we've been a long-standing Splunk Elite partner over the years, as well as a Cisco partner, helping to enable organizations across every industry and government agencies in gaining insights, visibility, and observability into their data in an ever-evolving IT world. While servicing all of these industries, we get some keen insights into very highly regulated areas and understanding the different areas of importance of detecting an event and figuring out if something is a security event, an operational one, or if it's both, and how to protect an organization from both an operational and a cyber risk. In today's ever-connected world, we're starting to see more and more technology span between IT, as well as seeing ever-connected devices within industries, and that can be across anything from smart connected screens to sensors within warehouses and data centers to devices that are connected on aeroplanes and vehicles, and understanding how having access to connected devices can also pose both a security risk and potentially cause operational challenges within an organization. With Splunk being quite an indispensable tool across a unified platform across those landscapes, we see no better solution than the wider Splunk ecosystem to get visibility across both what is a security incident and an IT operations-based issue, and being able to determine how that's impacting the business, not just within the IT world, and what that has for both a reputational impact as well as an impact to an organization's bottom line. So over the next 40 minutes, we're going to be hearing from Gordon Noble, who is the Splunk Observability Strategist within Australia and New Zealand, as well as from Olivier Bao, who is one of the IT operations and platforms managers within the service management team at TPG Telecom. We're going to be hearing some great examples around how Splunk have seen across the world and in Australia how their technology is being used to mitigate both security and operational risk through their observability solutions. And we're going to see it in action as to some of the great outcomes that TPG have had throughout their service transformation journey in AI ops as they start to roll out more and more of their Splunk technologies across their entire network of connected devices and mobile sites around the country. So we're going to pop a question into the poll at the moment for everybody to get some insights across all the different industries. We've got some participants across all levels of government today, so both state and federal and local councils, as well as all different industries and sizes of organisations. So some of these with tens of thousands of employees and some of those with as little as less than 50. And what we wanted to gauge from everybody is around what are the ever evolving challenges that you're seeing at the moment as technology spans out across both your traditional cloud and infrastructure based IT, as well as the ever evolving world of connected devices and sensors. And how that's posing as a risk across the gamut of operations and security. So I can see a few answers that are coming into the poll at the moment. We're going to give some insights and our opinion on those a little bit later on today. But great to see a couple of results that we're seeing already. So as I mentioned, there is a Q&A section. Feel free at any time to pop those in. We do have a dedicated spot at the end of this session where both Gordon and Olivia and myself will be going through and reviewing those and giving some of our insights. But for now, I'd like to hand over to Gordon Noble, one of the observability strategists at Splunk, who's got some great insights across every industry and government in the country and insights into what Splunk sees around the world. And to give an overview of why it's important that both IT and security data is coming together and converging together to give a greater sense of observability.
Thank you, Cameron, and thanks everyone for joining us today. So why is operational resilience important? Well, it's all about the ability to prevent, detect, and recover and respond to events that impact your business. Now, these, events could be security events, they could be performance events, they could be, things that go bump in the night that stop your applications and IT infrastructure, OT components running that has, a disruption to your business and an impact on your business. And at Splunk, we're all about, helping you with this challenge that you have in your environment. And, but we do understand that this is really hard for you guys to do, for customers to do. Because it's complex. There's complex cybersecurity, threats and challenges out there. You have to adhere to, various regulations such as the Secure Infrastructure Act that's there, and these things all need to be secured. And as we're all very, very aware, these disruptions in your environment, across either an IT or an OT environment, can cause downtime and stop, production, have a real business impact, as well as an operational impact to your teams, that your people are, involved in war rooms to fix these issues, as opposed to being more innovative and doing more for your business. And in some organizations as well, this gets complicated by the fact that you have siloed people, tools, and processes that make this challenging, because often problems are across multiple systems, and you've got people with different views of the problem or of the challenge that you're facing, which makes it difficult to solve these problems. And then you've got the obvious pressure in your organization. You've got digital transformation. You're moving potentially to the cloud or introducing new products or systems to your environment. You've got to transform, but also keep this resilience. And that's a huge challenge that organizations face today. And the typical state in many organizations that we see is there is no, single source of truth. You have various different systems, sending data to various different places, as technology and solutions have evolved through time. And that's a real challenge when you're looking for a security incident or an operational problem is impacting your business, your customers, your applications, your operations. It's a challenge. And the obvious or what the goal of many organizations is to take this data and feed this data into a single platform that can, that allows the various parts of an organization to answer questions as to what's happening in their environment and give that complete end-to-end visibility. That's the obvious goal that many customers would like to get to, and it's what we offer with the Splunk platform, because we have, a unified data platform that you can ingest information, machine data, data from any environment into this system, and then put some smarts around that to understand what's happening, have some, AI capability to detect, investigate, and respond to this, but solve for both security cases and IT operational observability use cases. And later on today, I'll run through a demonstration showing how the platform can be used to resolve a incident that is both a potential security incident as well as a performance incident, and show the benefit of having all this information in the one platform so teams can solve a problem faster. And, it's all about ingesting this data once into the platform so it gives the right insights to the different teams in your organization, so they can actually see and understand what's happening to get the insights, whether it's a security person, with getting SIEM capability, some forensics, whether it's an application person looking at how an application's performing, an IT ops or a network ops person understanding the network, but also being able to do and perform tasks like, capacity planning. And if we think about this in the context of handling alerts in the network operations center, if you're thinking you've got multiple different tools, you can see on the left-hand side of this graphic, if they've all got their single view of what's happening in the world, even in the operations center, handling these alerts and multiple alerts from different tools and systems is a challenge. Even if they have their own system and they're in their own environment, you've got potentially lots of screens. But what can transform that to would be a single view that takes all this information and displays it effectively as a business service and shows all the related information to this service and how it's performing. So instead of multiple systems, this is able to be consolidated into a single view from a single platform, so you get all the information in the right place, so you're able to understand how things are performing and be proactive and preventative in solving problems. And this is, a solution here. It's actually, for an outage management system, but it's, this can be for many different systems. We'll see an example, where or how TPG are using this. But Cameron at AC3 and the AC3 people have done this for many different industries and be able to create these views that really enables better operations inside organizations. And I really encourage you to have a chat with Cameron and his team about how this could be done in your environment. So, that's a little bit from me just now. I will be talking a little later, showing an example of how our solutions come together. But I'd like to pass over to Cameron, who will introduce Olivier from TPG. Cameron?
Yes. Thanks so much, Gordon. So now, exactly as Gordon said, I'd like to introduce Olivier Bao. He's the Operations Platforms Manager at TPG. I've had the pleasure of working with Olivier now for a little over a year and seeing their transformation journey across the AI ops space. So, Olivier, did you want to give a bit of an overview of your role and the sheer amount of things that your team is responsible for monitoring and observing?
Yeah, so good morning, Cam, and thanks for having me. So I work in the technology service operation organization at TPG Telecom and reporting into the general manager. And I basically look after observability, automation, and I also lead the AIOps strategy across technology, which comprise of mobile networks, fixed networks, and IT. So it's quite a broad spectrum. Um, and with that, we look at um, making sure we're getting value for our tools and platforms. We implement best practices and things like that. So this is in a nutshell what I look after at TPG.
Yes, that's a very wide breadth of technology that's spanning
Yes.
across your traditional IT application space, but then also going into very bleeding edge network technology spread out across the country, mobile technology with a world that's just booming in mobile data consumption, and being able to wrangle all of that performance data into as few systems and platforms as possible, but to gain those insights. So, what was the initial event or thing that made TPG start to think about going down this AI ops journey and starting to strategize and streamline where its data goes and what insights you want to get out of that?
Well, actually, it wasn't based or as a reaction to a series of events. It was actually a proactive decision because, in fact, we wanted to shift our approach to operations from being reactive to proactive, and we also wanted to, um, not or stop being system centric and be more service focused. And the main goal for this was to or is to drive better experience for our customers as um, the most I guess important things, but also to improve our operational efficiency, including cost reduction through automation. And this is what really led to our team developing and implementing our AIOps strategy. We also had obviously other factors that came in play, especially the complexity of our systems and the scale of it as well across our IT and network ecosystem. So because we have a mix of legacy systems and cutting edge technologies, as you mentioned, and we have workloads that are running on bare metal, private clouds, public cloud type hosting, and SaaS. So it's again a very wide breadth of hosting that also add to the complexity. So in addition to that, we also had to make sure ops keeps up to the speed at which the dev teams are pushing changes because um, they're moving really fast, and we need to be able to keep up with this. So dealing with this level of complexity and scale and increasing large volume of machine data was not sustainable with the traditional way to manage operations. So there was, as a result, a strong need for us to modernize our approach and leverage off AI ML and automate in strategic places. So,
So you mentioned operations teams. Just so that the audience can understand, how many different operations teams are reliant on this sort of data at TPG?
where we have internal teams and we have also managed service partners across our IT and mobile networks um, operations, and it's in thousands of people, but globally. So it's quite large and broad with onshore team, offshore teams, multiple NOCs. It's yeah, broad.
And And what was one of the main reasons why TPG chose Splunk and the observability and security suite as part of its core function? So as we can see in this diagram, this is a very simplified one. Knowing what's behind the scenes there's literally thousands of data points in there. But what makes Splunk stand out as the solution that's almost the nerve center of this?
Oh yeah. So simplistically, we're looking for a data platform that was technology agnostic, because, as I mentioned, we have quite a wide breadth of various technologies and hosting environments. So we don't want to be onto a platform that plays well in only one of those domains. And yeah, we're looking for a platform that can take any data from anywhere. So that was one of the first requirements. But we're also looking for a platform that would enable us to build service monitoring and service dependencies in line with our service data model, because we actually syncing these data models with our CMDB, so we can leverage off that data in our service management platform. So and in addition to that, there was also on the horizon the desire to converge with our SIEM as well, to make the OSS integration faster and easier for our delivery teams, but also to enable access to our application data, logs and metrics for our cybersecurity teams to avoid swivel sharing between an external SIEM, which we've had until recently, and so for detection of security events, and then having to do threat hunting and forensics on the different platforms. So we wanted to be able to do that from the one place, really. So
Excellent. Now, you've been on this journey for a little while now, and there's still quite a roadmap to go. But are you able to share with the audience some of the successes and the learnings of where you're at now, and how that may have helped you pivot with what the original strategy has been, and sort of focus on what you've now learnt over the last year?
yeah, sure. So I can start with, I guess, where we are now, and so we had to, as a starting point, update our design standards to make sure all delivery teams are adhering to our AOps strategy and requirements when they're building and integrating new system with our OSS stack. Um, and as a result, we already have a number of critical IT systems that are running on ITSI, and we also have set up the monitoring from our mobile core in ITSI, and we're currently working actually with the help of AC3 to develop the monitoring for our radio network also in ITSI. And yeah, we face challenges because a lot of these concepts are new for delivery teams, technology partners, and engineering teams. So we have to often take them through the journey and explain the shift in mindset, how we want to be more service focused, and how we run service decomposition workshops to really understand what is important and meaningful to a service, and how we measure the health of those services, and then we tie them to applications and databases and infrastructure. So and the best way we were able to do this is by first running a POC. We actually set it up for one of our technology domain. It was actually mobile core we started with, and we just show people how it works and the benefits they can yield from having such type of insight in the platform. So that was very helpful in getting people on board with the change, and get them to want to learn a bit more about, I guess, Splunk at TSI, and then wanting to contribute to it. So
Yep.
that was one of the, I guess, key challenge in how we handled it as part of the implementation of those Splunk services.
Now, while you've had some initial success now, there's quite a roadmap of where TPG wants to go, not just only leveraging what's in Splunk, but having Splunk power some additional capabilities into other areas and other technologies in the business. Are you able to share a little bit around where to next from here? So what's
Yes.
yes, you've got some new platforms that you want to bring into Splunk, but some of the automation processes and some of the ITSM enhancements that you've also done?
Yeah, so we're in the process of of building a SOAR instance right now to control and trigger enrichments and remediation playbooks. We're also in the process of building the ES cluster with the aim of going live by the end of the year. Also on the roadmap, we're planning to migrate pretty much all of our critical IT systems onto ATSI, which is in the magnitude of 70 plus systems by the end of 2026. And we're also planning to finish to put the rest of our mobile networks systems into ATSI. That include our transmission and IP core as well, and we're also targeting fixed networks. And so we're really planning to make Splunk our central platform for observability. And in terms of the benefits, and our key objective we're targeting is so one of the first one actually was to reduce our tool fragmentation, because I'm sure that's the case for many customers here on the call, but it's quite easy to end up with a lot of OSS systems, where one place we have logs, another place we have metrics, the other systems get alarms, and you have to jump between all the systems to find out what happens. So we wanted to first of all reduce that tool fragmentation, so we can fast track our mean time to detect and mean time to know where the issue is. And yeah, beyond that, the key objective was automating as much as we can across the three pillars of AOps, so observe, engage, and act. So to give an example of things we were planning to implement, obviously, is the automation of fault detection. We wanted to automate event correlation as well as ticket creation and routing. We wanted to automate ticket enrichment, how we engage with our support teams, including incident swarming, automating the notification to our stakeholders and customers, automating and assisting with the root cause analysis for the ultimate goal of automating restoration of our impacted services. So this is, I guess, the key objectives we have for the Splunk platform, as well as the rest of the tools we use for our AIOps strategy.
Yeah, that sounds great, and it's really great to hear a telco who traditionally the industry may not think that telcos really do care about their customers, but having experienced this and hearing you today, a lot of this is really built around customer experience. It's reducing the time to detect problems, automating, trying to fix those and remediate those without waiting for a human to be involved. It's really refreshing to see that in action and to see some people who really care about customer experience and using some great technology across a whole landscape of different platforms to be able to do that. So I look forward to seeing where the roadmap goes, and perhaps next year we can hear from you when you're almost finished, or hopefully finish this journey. Yeah, there's some great outcomes there across, and using pretty much every Splunk tool that's available to you. So we'll now hand back over to Gordon. Gordon's going to give a bit of a demo on how both security and operational impacting events can sometimes appear as one and the same, and how Splunk can be used as a bit of a differentiator to get a lens across both of those silos to determine what the true culprit of an outage might be.
Thank you, Cameron. So the example I'm talking about today is we have a company that sells these wonderful Splunk t-shirts, and it's an online store. This example, is an online environment, but it's applicable to many other areas and other businesses. And what the challenge that's been that's happened is there's been an unexpected spike in traffic. It's impacted the website performance, and Splunk's getting alerts that this has happened, that there's a problem, and this is impacted, and people that are aware of it rather are the business service owner, the security ops person, the security analyst, and the IT ops person. So they've been notified through the various ITSM tools they have with the integration of Splunk to that, and got some Slack messages that something is not going as it should be. So looking at the IT service intelligence dashboard, and this is dashboards that the customer has to understand the performance. It's also the technology that TPG are actually using to look at the performance of their applications. We see a few things here that's important. The customer satisfaction has decreased from where it normally is. Revenues decreased. Purchases are falling off. Traffic has actually increased, and there is some security notable events that have happened. So what someone can do here is drill down and have a look to see what's happening and where the problem actually is here. So the first thing we're going to look at is the IT operations person is looking at this view, and this is from our Splunk APM solution. And what that's showing there in red, that the payment service is actually slowed right down. It's went from what its normal is, the AI ML capability inside Splunk has said, hey, that's not normal for this time. And drilling down on there, we can look in a bit more detail there, and we can see that the number of requests has increased, as well as the time, the how long it's taking to respond for that. So there's a problem here. But also the security guy is looking as they're looking into this and working together within the same platform. He's also saying, hey, this is Splunk Enterprise Security. This is our full SIEM platform, and what it has detected, that there's traffic coming from an unusual geolocation that's could well have caused this spike. And what they're able to do is drill down inside here and find out, hey, this traffic's coming from Australia, and that's not normal. So drilling down further, we can actually look at that. And yes, you can see there's traffic in the last 30 minutes coming from Australia, and we've actually started to block that. And we've blocked traffic from, a referrer URL place. So we can look at what referrer URLs are being blocked. And you can see here, what we're able to tell is it's coming from Instagram via a referrer URL to the Splunk web store. Hey, what's the problem here? So let's have a look at what's going on. So we look on Instagram and we see, there's some guy with the Splunk pony buttercup and wearing a t-shirt and saying, hey, look at these really good t-shirts. You should get one. You should look a bit like me. They're really cool. And there's the URL to go and buy the t-shirts, and it's from here, and this looks like legitimate. This looks like maybe something that maybe marketing have done that haven't told operations that, hey, we've got this influencer pushing our t-shirts and it's going to cause more traffic. So what we can do there is we can then remediate it to allow traffic to come from that specific URL using our SOAR platform with a playbook to then allow traffic to come from that Australia location via that referrer URL. And then we can run this playbook, but also what we may want to do here as well is scale the resources. We know we're going to have an increase in traffic, so let's increase the capacity on the Kubernetes, infrastructure that's running the various microservices for this application, particularly the payment services, which we knew we had a problem with before. So we can push that out via Terraform to put more capacity in there. And then once we've done that, we can see that things are now in our dashboard looking better. Traffic's increased, our revenue's increased, the customer satisfaction's increased. There's now no security issues happening. The performance of the application is now better, and people are buying these t-shirts and being happy. So this is an example of why having all the data in the one platform, being able to push that into a dashboard that shows the service of your application, and then being very easily able to drill down to get to the detail underneath, what's happening to work out, hey, is this a security incident? Is this a performance incident? And fix problems faster. And ideally, be detecting and understanding these problems before your customers are impacted. So, this is one example. Obviously, there is many more and many different technologies we can drill down to. And one area that we've put a lot of focus on since our recent acquisition by Cisco is getting more detail about the network and showing more about what's happening inside a network for the delivery of these services and applications. So, and with that, we'd like to, open some questions from you guys about anything that you've saw today, whether you'd like to ask myself, Cameron, or Olivier any questions. I think that's going to be done by the chat. Is that correct, Cameron?
Yeah, that's right. So just having a quick look here, there's a couple of questions that have popped through. So Olivia, one for you. You briefly mentioned earlier on before, but one of the questions is, how did you help shift the mindset of some of the new teams that you are reaching out to, those that don't typically use Splunk, to get them on board with using that as part of your AI ops journey?
Well, our approach with this was to basically build examples and show how it works, right? So, as I was mentioning before, we've built a sort of a POC, I guess, to start with. It was the early days for our IMS core that's handling our 4G voice services. And yeah, we basically showed it to teams, and there was a great response. People would get really on board with it and got really interested, and then I've been asked actually to show a number of other teams how what we can do and how it works. And then yeah, so the strategy was yeah, build it and let people come and ask to have the same setup for the systems or the teams. Yeah, that was the approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And this is more just probably a question from me more than anyone else. So Gordon, you mentioned in your demo something that's very cloud native. A lot of the experience that I see across many of my customers is there's plenty of those cloud native organizations and applications that are around, but how would that necessarily work in a more what we call traditional type of IT landscape of a 3-tier architecture, might still be running in a data center, might involve some legacy hardware and the likes, and how does observability play into that space?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Cameron. And we do have systems that are focused on the challenges of microservices and Kubernetes and cloud native technologies, and that's where a lot of customers are going, and there's a big movement there. But there is still a lot of legacy applications out there. I don't know if legacy is the right word. There's still maybe a lot of applications that are running on, say, traditional, 3-tier .NET, Java, where you have the web server, application server, database, or even monolithic applications where it's all running together. And one of the great advantages of Splunk is we have solutions that fit any application. And if you need to, because of regulatory requirements or whatever that may be, we can still look and manage those if it needs to be on premise as well as a cloud-based SaaS offering. So we're really flexible in that regard, and sometimes a business service is made up of maybe some cloud native capability, maybe some legacy, maybe even some mainframe capability, and that's one of the key, uh, differentiators that we're able to show that in a business service in our AI ops platform called ITSI, which is being used at TPG, and I think again you can see at TPG the flexibility of that is it's able to look at a mobile core, an IMS network, everything that you have there. It's let's face it, unique to a telco, but our technology is flexible enough to adapt and provide the right information to the operations people.
We have another question for you, Olivier. Were you able to consolidate any of your other tools throughout your process?
Yes, we have. So we actually been driving this consolidation across, yeah, I mean, three big technology pillars, which are fixed, mobile, and IT. We used to have, as you can imagine, a lot of tool fragmentation, and we were targeting mostly our event management platforms. We had several, and I think probably 4 or 5 different performance management platforms. So we did retire 2 of the event management platforms and use Splunk Connect for SNMP to collect SNMP traps and send all these alarms into Splunk ATSI. And then for performance management, we've been using Splunk Connect for OpenTelemetry, as well as custom technical add-ons, actually built with the help of AC3 to hook to a number of element manager systems such as VROps and OEM. So I haven't retired those, but we've been targeting to retire all the platforms that were used for monitoring purposes. So there's total of, I would say, 5 or 6 systems that so 2 we retired, and the other 4 or 5 that are coming in addition to that.
Oh, excellent. And yeah, hopefully throughout the journey as well, you might be able to identify some others. But it's good to hear that the fragmentation is starting to disappear. And as Gordon said, have a single source of truth across both the IT ops, the network ops, and the security operations teams. And anyone and everyone within those teams is able to query the same data for their own needs. So really great outcome there. We might pull up some of the results from the poll that we had earlier on in the session. So a pretty even split across what everybody's having, what the challenges are facing at the moment. And something of interest that kind of stands out to me is the fact that it's similar challenges between these. And I imagine because we did ask what the biggest challenge is, but most of these would probably be applicable or on somebody's priority list to have a look into. So it's quite interesting having a look at these results back with Olivia, what your strategy has been, and seeing that it's quite well aligned in that lots of people are concerned around the visibility of siloed data across fragmented teams, and also that ability to be able to get the context from all of those different data points, no matter what type of lens you're trying to apply, whether it be ops or security. Gordon, these types of challenges, you speak with many organizations around the country. Is this kind of what you see?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not surprised it's fairly equal across all of them, because these are all challenges that that people talk to us about. And understanding what counts as a security event, that's a good SIEM platform does help you with that, and it's constantly updated. But the other parts of that is, more about having the same platform to ingest the data and understanding what's the important metrics, and that's absolutely key. And I see that as being, something that, yes, there is a whole bunch of metrics that we look at typically in our platforms, but really to understand that and configure it, we, work with the likes of our partners to really understand what's important to the business. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think
Cam, I do have a
Oh, sorry, go Gordon.
I do have a
Sorry.
question for you. Sorry, before we were talking the other day about a very interesting customer that you had that was using both OT and IT data to basically make their I would call it their business operations, or they're actually delivering a service to the public better. Are you able to talk a little bit more about that and then share that with the audience?
Yeah, that's right. So, with working with a local council who has some quite evolving IT needs and OT needs, they realised that just through organic changes within the different technologies of what a council is actually responsible for, they had these scales of technology operating in their garbage trucks across their network, and understanding that posed both an operational and cybersecurity risk with this ever-connecting devices that needed to call back into some council systems, whilst also going to third parties and all of these manufacturers of devices that they're using within their trucks. And whilst it doesn't seem like the most flashiest of examples, it's a really interesting one of understanding how different sensors within a vehicle can generate so much data that can be meaningful both across physical security and cybersecurity, as well as operations within the organization that's more focused on the operational side of things rather than your typical IT world. And some of the insights that council has been able to get is they've been able to put in place some data collection points that improve physical safety, not just of their drivers, but also of the general public in the area. So yes, they can see the speed or where these trucks are going, but they're also able to determine whether or not these drivers are fatigued, whether or not they're driving safely, whether or not the routes that they're going on are suitable to the types of vehicles that they've got. So there's always this safety idea that was leading the conversation. And as they've grown, they've started to realize that that same bit of data is being used to optimize their routes, making sure that the vehicles that they're running are serviced properly. So they're able to detect whether or not components are faulty. If they're off the road, they can't service their constituents. And everyone knows if your bin's not collected and it takes another week for it to go, that can become a big problem as the street starts to smell up. So a really great, very different example of how that type of data comes in versus your traditional, what we normally expect to see, which is applications and virtual machines and cloud infrastructure and the like. So a really different take on using all of that operational data. And it just goes to show that, when we were asked, Splunk was the perfect tool for that because it doesn't care where the data comes from or what it is. You're able to extract some insights out of it. So thanks for that question, Gordon. I think that's it for the questions now. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this session. As we said, we'll make this available to everybody shortly after. But if there's any questions in the emails that went out, there's some contact details of those. Feel free to reach out to either Gordon or myself. And I'd like to personally thank Olivier and Gordon for joining me in this session and some of the insights that you guys have provided. It's been fantastic.
Thank you, Cameron. Thanks for hosting this, and thanks everyone for attending.
Yeah, thank you, Cameron, Gordon. Thanks everyone for attending.